Dear friends, I am Mohd Nayyer Rahman and I welcome you in BRICS Talk, which is a global online project by National Committee on BRICS Research Russia. Today I am going to talk about the global pandemic COVID-19 and the situation in BRICS countries, especially focusing on India. If we see an overview of BRICS countries with respect to this COVID-19 pandemic, it is not surprising that as has happened in the world that most of the countries has severely affected because of this COVID-19, all BRICS countries are also facing the same impact, and particularly China is the country from where this virus originated. And therefore BRICS countries share a special responsibility to tackle this COVID-19 and also to deliberate upon the losses caused due to this global pandemic 2019 and what measures should be taken in order to safeguard people and to protect people, because the death rate in COVID-19 is also is changing very fast. So because of these reasons, it is the collective responsibility of BRICS countries to present to a world a collective response on this COVID-19. And obviously, because the virus originated in China, China has a lot to share with the world, and it is the right time that China should share, and it is sharing with the BRICS countries. If we see the real-time data of BRICS countries with respect to COVID-19 and death rates, it's quite alarming that Brazil has already witnessed around 11,600 deaths due to COVID-19. Russia, on the other hand, Russia, India, and China, they only have four-figure deaths, but that is also alarming. In China, it is 4,600, India up till now 2,300, and Russia 2,100. And South Africa, being a small country, obviously it has only 206 deaths due to this COVID-19. But not only deaths, the other aspects of COVID-19 are also challenging. If we see the active cases for BRICS countries, this is very alarming. For example, there are around 90,600 active cases of COVID-19 right now in Brazil. In Russia, it is the highest, that is around 186,000 is the active cases of COVID-19, followed by India with around 46,000 active cases. And because of that, it is a challenging situation for the countries to tackle. Already around more than 1 month has passed for the lockdown, and if we go and if we see the stringency index developed by Oxford University to tackle this situation under lockdown, we see in BRICS countries, most of the countries already have gone below 50% of the lost income. It means that people have already in a situation where they are losing their income every day, and already they are in a position they have lost their 50% of the income. I mean, the possibility of earning the same amount of money, it has gone by 50%. This is very challenging for BRICS countries because all BRICS countries are developing countries. They're not developed countries. And in order to rotate and accelerate the wheels of economic growth and economic prosperity, this severity index, the stringency index, and this lockdown is very problematic. But the countries have no option but to go for lockdown. For example, if we take the example of India, my country, the density is very high in India. We have around 1.37 billion people. We have certain urban areas where density is more than the national average density. And we have slums, which is one of the biggest problem for our country, because we have huge number of people. We have a high percentage of people who lives below poverty line, and they live in slum areas where social distancing is not possible. If you see the slum area of the Dharavi, which is the biggest slum of the world, if you see, which is a slum as well as a ghetto, if you see in that, there's no possibility of social distancing. And therefore, lockdown has helped to mitigate the possibility of a spreading of COVID-19 in India, but it has not solved all the problems, because a time will come when India, and the time is now approaching, has to open up this lockdown. And when the country opens up the lockdown, then whatever situation prevails, that is the main concern. Now, because of that, if we see that because there are lots of ghettos, lot of slum areas, we have poor people, we have people who earn on daily basis and they have to go out of their homes. Few people, they even do not have home, they are homeless. And in such kind of situation, it is quite challenging to go for social distancing and to continue lockdown for a very long period of time. Already now, uh, in India, we see that lots of problems are coming up because now laborers are moving back to their home states and home cities, and this problem of transportations, airlines are shut, trains are shut, interstate transport is shut. India has divided all its cities into three categories: the green zone, the orange zone, and the red zone. There is no means relaxation in the red zone. I also belong to an area which is under red zone. A red zone is where we have more than 20 cases, and this possibility of more cases before lockdown opens up. And then we have the orange cities where a few things are relaxed, and then we have the green cities which are quite safe cities and where much more relaxation is there. But on a national level, these relaxations uh, are very challenging to handle, because how you will promote social distancing in a country where we have such a huge population, and also where people have to move out of their homes to earn on daily basis. They do not have, and then we also have a huge population who is unbanked, who is not linked, who is not financially inclusive in nature. And that's why even if you want to help them through funds transfer, that kind of facility is not available. However, India has taken important steps. This center has collaborated with states to assist people in moving from one place to another, particularly migrants, laborers. And it has also provided through its public distribution system rations, the essential food items to the poor people and the needy people. And we also see that lots of NGOs, independent social workers, people are also helping other people in this area. But the next few weeks will be the most important weeks for India. The Director of the AIMS in India has said that June and July are expected to be the months where we can expect huge number of cases. And the number of cases are rising. Yesterday only in India, there were around 2,000 cases, new cases. And the problem is, if you see all the BRICS countries, India is having the number of tests per million people in India is the least. So all countries, whether it is Brazil, Russia, whether it's China or South Africa, they are having more number of tests per million of people in their country. But in India, it is the least in BRICS countries. It's only 1275 tests per million people. But one of the additional benefits with India is that India is the only country who is also having medical fraternity belonging to alternative medicine systems. For example, India has Ayush, which is a government agency, and it uh, nurtures alternative medicine practitioners. For example, homeopathy, for example, Ayurveda, Unani, etc. And these practitioners are now used by government to facilitate the precautionary measures in society with respect to COVID-19. So on my part, this is important, and India has had an important lessons in history with respect to pandemic. In India, we had three pandemics starting from 1896, and the word pandemic was first used in India in 1896. We also had a Pandemic Act of 1897, Epidemic Act of 1897. So we witnessed three pandemics in history. One is malaria, second is cholera, and the third one is plague. And plague came in India three times, and more than 12 million people died because of all these three pandemics in a course of around 40-50 years. So India has had an experience with pandemic. So we have a public distribution system, we have a health system, but we are lacking in some areas in infrastructure. And because we do not have, we have a huge section of people who are unbanked, the government is not able to transfer their money, and that is one of the issues. I hope that the next few weeks are going to be very crucial for India, and not just India, for all the BRICS countries. And my message to all the BRICS countries is that we should have some collaborative effort. Already we had some medical teleconferencing and health experts talking with within the BRICS countries, but we should come up with a collateral fund for all the BRICS countries, a stimulus package for all the BRICS countries to tackle the economic problems which will come in the post-COVID-19 scenario. Already we are seeing that now the economic growth rates are going down. We have challenges of unemployment. Unemployment is not just an economic problem, it is a social problem for the society. So my suggestion is that BRICS countries together should come up with a stimulus package. The package should be used, should be an inter-country package, and it should be used to come out of this pandemic as well as to rethink the growth patterns of the countries, and in order to assist all the countries in future pandemics. This is my suggestions. Thank you so much for accepting my suggestions and views on BRICS and COVID-19. Thank you so much.